Greetings once again, it's Apple Stump Bushcraft Stuff and Things. We're bringing you a life hack today. How to make your own trap to catch meat bees, or otherwise known as yellowjackets. Yellowjackets can be kind of pesky. They can be a little bit dangerous for people that are hypersensitive to their sting or bite, people who have severe allergic reactions to them. They're not usually terribly aggressive, but if you have anything on your skin that they might think is good to eat, they may come and take a bite of you. If you should happen to step on one, then you can count on the rest of their buddies coming to find out what happened, and they may swarm you. If you catch one in your hand, you can count on being stung. Unlike honeybees, yellowjackets' sting doesn't stay in the skin when they sting you, so they can hit you multiple times. They're not the same thing as a paper wasp. A paper wasp gathers fibers from fences or logs or sometimes grass and plants and uses their saliva to make a paper nest, and it's usually found hanging in the eaves of your house, sometimes in a tree, sometimes in dark places underneath a barbecue, things like that. Yellowjackets, on the other hand, burrow into the ground. They still make paper nests, but they're underground. And you can usually spot their nest opening by just a hole that's been excavated and a little mound of dirt outside of it. This is a life hack about how to build a trap for one. They're usually a lot thinner than this one. You can see this one's rather large. And they're generally yellow, kind of a fluorescent yellow in color. Sometimes they're hourglass shaped. Over the years, I found out that yellowjackets really don't care what color the outside container is. What they're interested in appears to be the odor of what's inside. So we made this container, which used to have a dry protein powder like people use when they're on a protein diet, and we just drilled a lot of holes around it. See, kind of staggered these, and there's no precise number of them around there, just whatever seemed to go around the outside okay. And that's for ventilation. On top we have 4 holes on the lid and 1 hole in the center. The hole in the center is a 1/4 inch hole, big enough for the yellowjackets to get through, and 1 entrance on the side, and that's also a 1/4 inch hole. You can make these holes with the awl, A-W-L, with the awl blade of your Swiss Army knife. That right there is an awl blade, and you can see that it could easily make a hole. And you could use a regular knife blade on this thin plastic to cut out a hole sufficiently big, either in the top or the side, to accommodate a yellowjacket. On the side holes, you don't want to make them big enough so that the bugs can get through them. You want to make them small enough so that the odor from what's inside will come out 360 degrees around the container, and the wind can blow through there, pick up that scent, and distribute it through the air. That's what attracts them, not the color. They operate on scent. Also up here, these are scent releasing holes, and this top hole and the side hole can also release the scent of what's inside. What we put in here for attractant is usually cat food, sometimes tuna. Depending on how big the container is, you want to fill it about that full with water, 3 or 4 drops of dishwashing detergent, and about 1/4 cup of sugar. And mix that all up. The purpose of the tuna is to provide an odor that they want to come to. You can also use canned cat food, they love that. The purpose of the sugar is also to provide an aroma that will attract them. And then the dishwashing soap, what it does is lowers the surface tension of the water so that they can't stand on the water. They sink immediately when they touch it and they drown. We have quite a few yellowjackets in our front lawn and back lawn. There's one, out ahead of me a ways. 2 years ago I trapped so many of them that I pretty much wiped out the yellowjacket population for my yard, and we didn't have very many after that for the whole rest of the season. I caught 200 24, something like that. And I'll show you those a little later. I've left this container outside now in 2 different locations for a few days. and we're going to see how many of them are in there. I already looked inside of here to make sure that there aren't any living ones that are going to come popping out when I open that. You can see the bottom of the lid there. There's looking down inside the bottle. You can see there's a number of them in there. I'd estimate somewhere around 50 to 75. And there's a number of them on top. That's just a few days of being out in the backyard where they were swarming. So here we are at the sink, and we've got a strainer. I'm going to pour the contents of the trap into this strainer just so we can catch the yellow jackets. And here we go. And I can sure smell that attractant. And what we usually use besides the tuna and the sugar is a commercially prepared attractant mixture that I get at the Home Depot, but it's not necessary. You put enough cat food in there and they will come a-running, or flying, I guess. I'm going to put a little bit of liquid Dawn detergent on there, dish soap, mix them around a little bit, and try to get rid of some of the smell of that attractant. It's a pheromone, and it smells a lot like the pheromone that they release. Okay, so there's tuna in there and a lot of bugs. Alright, here we have a cookie sheet on the stove top. I haven't picked out the tuna yet from among there. See if we can separate the tuna from the bees. Not always an easy task. So I am going to continue cleaning up all the tuna out of the field there, and I'll get back to you when we just have bees. Well, there we have the mass of yellow jackets that we caught in that trap in a couple of days. I was sitting out by the wood pile in my backyard, and I'm going to count them up and see how many are there. And there we have them. There's 74. There's all kinds of different sizes in there. A lot of times their stingers become apparent when they die. So that's the haul for a couple of days with our homemade trap, 74. Mostly in the backyard, only a few hours in the front. Year before last I constructed a trap similar to that one. It was made with a different container, but the basic principle was the same. Drilled some holes in it, put holes on the side and on top, big enough for the meat bee or the yellow jacket to get into it. Used the soap, sugar, and dishwashing detergent water for a drowning pool, and commercially made attractant plus some moist cat food. And this was the haul from that particular trap. There are 200 and I believe 32 or 242 yellow jackets in that pile. So matched with today's, let's just say there's 240 and there's 74 today, so that's 312. That's quite a number of bugs. They smell just like the attractant, which suggests to me that that's their natural pheromone. And I'll bet if I were to grind those up and use their own remains as an attractant, I might do as well. So next time I decide to set a trap out, I'm going to go ahead and try that and see how it works. Not a bad haul.